Welcome to a special edition of the Priority Lane podcast. I'm your host, Nigel Catt. Today, we're having a break from guests, and I'm going to delve a bit deeper into what the Priority Lane podcast is all about and how it may be useful to you. Our intro says the podcast is where we explore the power of prioritizing so you can stop doing everything faster and focus on doing what matters better. And that this is becoming increasingly difficult. Technology means that we can be contactable 24/7, and we're operating in a world overflowing with noise, notifications, and never ending to do lists. It has never been more important to choose what to ignore and what will lead you to success. So, the podcast is about how to focus on what really matters and how to disregard the noise. The people who master this ability typically rise to be leaders in business or their chosen field. Then, due to their achievements, they themselves are treated as a priority by others. Imagine if you received an email from Jeff Bezos, Taylor Swift, or Tiger Woods. It's going to get your attention. Regardless of your feelings towards these people, you're going to treat their communication as a priority. It's in your priority lane. So, how did these people get to these privileged positions? There are many reasons. However, leaders tend to share the ability to focus on what is important to their advancement and development and filter out the noise that does nothing more than confuse or distract us from the direction we should be heading. But how is this done? There are so many competing priorities in life. How do we filter out what is noise and what matters? And then, just as important, what matters and what matters most. Each episode, I sit down with leaders and discuss their formula of how they have solved or are solving this puzzle. We'll talk about how they juggle the competing priorities and the multitudes of responsibilities and how they manage to do this in a productive and cohesive manner. And hopefully, you may find strategies that you can implement in your life. But life is not just about business or your professional career. We are human and we lead multifaceted lives and play different roles to different people in our lives. We have commitments to our families that are vital to our personal well-being, and these family units are the bedrock of the greater society. Within the family spectre, there are a number of responsibilities and roles we fill. We provide emotional support to our spouses, significant others, and immediate family members. If you are a parent, there's a wide range of support you provide your children. There are then our parents and the extended family members who play a big part in our life. There are family events and celebrations that are important to us and the ones we love the most. For the most part, these are enjoyable parts of our lives. However, at times they do compete for our attention when there are other priorities demanding our time. Then there's our other main role, the business or professional life. This takes a large chunk of time, and even when not physically at work, our mind may still be at work. How do we manage this? How can a balance be sought when there appears to be so much depending on our contribution to the business or profession? This, for most people, is their main revenue generating asset. We need to build and nurture it, ensure it survives and flourishes as we rely on it to provide for and support our family and lifestyle. Hanging off the business, there may be staff that are relying on the business for their income to pay mortgages and rent. In return, you need them to take the pressure off so you can spend more time on the business and other priorities. Staff are a key part to the business and are the key to leading you to create the business you desire. And on top of this, there are also clients that need to be found, courted, and satisfied. However, we are missing one very important person, you. All that you have built or are in the process of building will mean nothing if you fail to look after yourself. This is what the Priority Lane podcast is all about. We sit down with leaders in their field who have found success and probe to uncover how they filter out the noise so they can focus on what matters. As it is, as it is just me for this podcast, I'll share the things I do in my business that I find useful in prioritizing tasks. However, before we can get to this stage, we need to set a good foundation to work from. This is your business plan, whether it be a formal plan or just a document that details where you want to go and the strategies to get there. a business plan is essential to clarify your path forward, as this becomes your filter of what is just noise and what matters. Then comes the tricky part, determining what matters and what matters most. So now, I'll share three things I do which you may find useful. These are how I decide what matters and what matters most. Number one, hard decisions first. I find the harder the decision or task, the easier and more tempting it is to kick it down the road. This generally does no one any good. In my experience, it just adds pressure and stress, as the decision still needs to be made, but now there is a real chance it is either costing you money or impeding your advancement. Dealing with the hard stuff as soon as you can makes life easier all round and shows direction for others in the business. It also makes life easier, as you know now only have to deal with the easier stuff. Getting rid of the hard stuff first to make life easier for everyone. Two, bottlenecks. I look for decisions or tasks that are causing bottlenecks in the business. This is especially relevant if the business has staff who are paid to perform. As a business owner with staff, one of my main roles is to ensure there are systems in place to enable people to perform at their optimum. If this is being inhibited by something I need to do, then that must be addressed as a priority. For me, there is nothing more frustrating in business than paying people to perform, and they are performing because you have not created the environment or structure for them to perform. And finally, understanding what you need. By this, I mean doing an evaluation of where your mindset is at and what you can and can't deal with at that moment. I'll try to explain what I mean. I know myself that if I try to perform a task that I'm not in the right frame of mind for, well, it's not going to go well. I'm likely not going to be productive. I'm going to be wasting time and I'll end up getting frustrated, which is not a great mindset to do anything productive. So, I group tasks into three types of tasks, which are categorized by the nature of the task and the environment and type of mindset I need to be in to do them effectively. I refer to them as strategy/problem solving, planning, and detail, or as large, medium, and small, which refers to the workspace I'm most effective for each task. This enables me to mix things up as well, so I'm not just tied to one desk all day. So, the first category, strategy problem solving, or large. These are tasks that are more creative. They typically involve looking for solutions or inspirations for new initiatives. For this, I need a large workspace to give my mind the opportunity to wander and explore and get creative. I don't need a laptop. I just need to be armed with the information I need and my phone to record any worthwhile gems that may evolve. I generally go for a walk or sit outside or maybe go to a cafe and people watch. This is my fun space and gives me the space and freedom with no interruptions. The second category is planning or medium space. This is where I turn the broad ideas into strategies into plans with a structure of how it could work, what resources are required, any impediments that we may come across. For this, I look to work from a meeting table, which is free from all clutter, except for my A3 writing pad, pencil, eraser, and pencil sharpener. There are times where I find this time very enjoyable as I see, hopefully, the ideas start to take shape and begin to realize the potential of the ideas. And finally, the detail or small space. This is when the plans become real and we get into details of how exactly it is going to work. And we do the financial modeling, we do research if required, and set a budget and action plan for the initiative. This is where I need specifics and I need my laptop to access files or to draw up plans and other documents. This stage can be the most exciting as it starts to become real and the true potential is quantified. This group also includes administrative and other such tasks. So each of these categories of work in themselves are enjoyable if I'm in the right mindset for it. However, if I'm not in the mood for detail-oriented tasks, then I'm not going to be productive. So I may as well spend my time in category one and go for a walk. Likewise, I may also be frustrated by just being in category one and not actually doing anything to progress initiatives and make them a reality. Therefore, I moved to the planning or detail categories. So, they are my three tips: hard decisions first, bottlenecks, and know yourself and work accordingly. These may or may not work for yourself as everyone is different. However, I'm sure our conversations with our guests will supply you with some key takeaways you can implement in your life. Also, each episode will take time out and delve into a quirky historical event that occurred in the current month of recording and discuss what lessons can be taken from it and how we can implement these lessons in our business and personal lives. So, that is what you can expect from the Priority Lane podcast each episode. Please join us again. We have some great guests coming up that I'm sure you'll enjoy, and we have had some interesting conversations already. So please, if you haven't already, go back and have a listen to those. Until next time, stay safe. Nigel.